It is a new era in Gainesville as Billy Napier takes over as the new head coach of the Florida Gators. But after a disappointing 6-7 season in 2021, can Florida really be a contender in 2022? So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys, ready to break down, predict, analyze Florida's schedule and record for this upcoming college football season. One that is met with a lot of intrigue and a lot of interest by college football fans across the country. A Florida team that some would say is a blue blood program went 6-7 last year, a year after winning the SEC East, a year that was so bad, capped off by a loss against UCF in their bowl game, that resulted in the firing of Dan Mullen. Billy Napier, of course, now steps in as the new head man in Gainesville after a very successful stint at Louisiana within the Sun Belt. But can he turn this program around in year one? Can he make Florida a contender in the SEC East in year one? We take a look at the numbers, guys, brought to you by College Football Encyclopedia. The Gators only returned 55% of their production from last year. That's 100th in the nation. Not too much coming back. They were 15th nationally offensively, as to be expected with an offensive-minded coach in Dan Mullen, but they are 51st defensively. You look at the offense, guys. We know that this offense revolves around Anthony Richardson, a dual-threat quarterback with a very big and accurate arm. He's going to be the centerpiece of this offense, guys. He's going to make or break Florida's offense. Problem is, Richardson only returns 2 of his top 5 wide receivers from last year, but he does have a very solid offensive line. And it's going to be really exciting to watch this Florida offense, guys, with Richardson getting full reign of the team. Last year, Mullen was very non-committal. Emory Jones got a lot of playing time. Richardson got plenty of playing time, but now it's all in on Richardson. There's going to be no splitting time, no controversy. He is the man. Defensively, Florida will be moving to a 3-3-5 defense. In the back 7, it's going to be very, very strong. Bentrell Miller and Brenton Cox lead the linebacking core, and the secondary guys will be very strong from a unit that was 25th nationally against the pass last year. This defense, I do think, is going to be pretty underrated for Florida, and they're going to be tested a lot this year. They're going to be tested a lot. They're going to be tested in week 1 when they take on Utah out of the Pac-12. And this game is so intriguing to me, guys, and it's really funny looking at a lot of the comments regarding this game because many are quick to say, Utah, they're Pac-12 boys. They can't hang with the SEC. Florida's going to win this game, no problem in the swamp. And we're here to say not so fast. Not so fast. Did you see Utah last year? There's something to be said, guys. Yeah, you got 5-star talent, but you have 5-star heart. You have 5-star effort. Florida might not have that right now. Yeah, Utah might be filled with a bunch of 3 stars and 4 stars, guys that on the recruiting trail aren't as good as Florida, but they're playing a lot harder than Florida. And they're going to win this game in Gainesville. Utah, guys, the Pac-12 champions from last year, nearly beat Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. This is a game for Utah that is much bigger for them than it is for Florida because of the Utes team that's going to start the year off in the top 10 and maybe could make the college football playoff. That's how good this team is. A star quarterback in Cam Rising, a star running back in Tavion Thomas, a defense that ranked 27th nationally from last year. So many big-time players on this team for Utah, guys, knowing that if they lose this game, their playoff hopes might be done. Now, I believe Kyle Whittingham and the Utes come in here and exploit this Florida defense that, first off, is going to be strong and underrated. But this is a team, guys, with a new coach, new changes, new schemes versus a Utah team that's very veteran-led that I think is going to be able to come in here and get this win on prime time in the swamp. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a fun game. But across the board, guys, in all aspects, I truly believe that Utah is the better team and that the Utes will win this game. So Florida drops to 0-1. They then take on Kentucky. So, you look at this game, Billy Napier doesn't have time to ease into this new job. No cupcake teams in week 1 or week 2. You're placing a top 10 team and another top 25 team, one of them being within your own conference. You take on Kentucky. Florida lost them 20-13 last year, and that was kind of the beginning of the end for Florida in 2021. Keep in mind, this was a team that early in the year only lost to Alabama by 2, and then when they fell to Kentucky 20-13, everything just started spiraling out of control. But that game last year, guys, was in Lexington. It's obviously a different Florida team than it is now. The game now is in the swamp. And I believe with Florida having that quarterback consistency, which they now have with Anthony Richardson, what should be an even better defense than they had last year, and then obviously revenge on their mind, I truly believe that Florida will beat Kentucky. I think a lot of people would look at it on paper and say that Kentucky is the better team. They look at last year's records and say Kentucky's the better team. But I do believe Florida gets their revenge in the swamp. I believe that Anthony Richardson will be able to exploit a weaker Kentucky secondary and get a close win over the Wildcats. 1-1 for Billy Napier. One win over a conference opponent. Huge for him. They beat USF, no issue there, 2-1, and then they lose on the road at Tennessee. I know Florida fans, you will hate me for that loss. You don't want to lose to Tennessee. You don't want to lose to Kentucky. You'll go 1-1 against them. But this Tennessee team, guys, is way too good. Florida, yes, beat them 38-14 last year, but now this Tennessee team, a team that went 7-6 last year, should be even better. A team that had the 9th-ranked offense in the country last year. Returns 8 starters on that side of the ball. Returns 7 on defense. And returns Hendon Hooker, who had 31 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions in 2021. This is a team that knows how to take care of the ball. This is a team that's going to have home field advantage. This is a team that offensively will be the best one that Florida has seen to date. And I believe we'll exploit that Florida defense. And with home field advantage on their side, I believe Tennessee does get their revenge over the Gators. So 2-2 for Florida. Then the schedule eases up a little bit. They beat Eastern Washington, 3-2. They beat Missouri, no issue there. I think Missouri losing to them was the low light for Florida last year, losing to the Tigers 24-23 in overtime. But the Tigers, they don't have much in 2022. They're going to struggle mightily in 2022. And I believe Florida at home gets their revenge over the Tigers. So just like that, 4-2. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say they're going to be 5-2 with a home win against LSU. They lost to LSU last year in Death Valley, 49-42. Florida's defense was horrendous in that game. Could not stop the Tigers for anything. But this is an LSU team that, while everybody's excited about the move for Brian Kelly, I don't think all the pieces are going to come together in year one for him. Questions at quarterback, major questions in the secondary. You really question how good this LSU team can be. The name brand says, 9 or 10 wins. But when you really want to be realistic, you're looking more like maybe 7 or 8. One of their losses, guys, is going to come in the swamp. Home field advantage is key in this one. Florida owns the edge at the quarterback position with Anthony Richardson over whoever starts for LSU. And I truly believe that Florida owns the defensive edge as well. And all those things combined will lead to a Florida victory. And Billy Napier's squad, guys, is 5-2, nationally ranked, heading into their bye week before the schedule once again gets extremely tough. They come out of their bye week to take on Georgia. They're not going to beat the Bulldogs. Again, if there's a couple teams that, a lot of rivals on Florida's team are scheduled, right? Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Florida State. You got to win a handful of those as your Billy Napier. You're not going to be able to beat Georgia, arguably the biggest one. The Bulldogs are the reigning national champions. They'll be a top 3 team when they play on October 29th at the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. They lost 34-7 last year, allowed 3 touchdowns in the final 2:16 of the first half. Georgia's defense is simply too good right now, and that was Florida's downfall last year and will be again this year. So Florida drops the game to the Bulldogs. I believe they dropped the game to Texas A&M. Again, if this game was in the swamp, I might be thinking a little bit differently, but the 12th man plays a very big role. They're not called the 12th man for nothing. You factor in they're going on the road to A&M after that Georgia game, which could be a bit of a hangover, whether Florida is devastated after a close loss or beaten down after a blowout. The A&M game sandwich there is just not in a good spot. I just don't think they're going to be able to win this game in College Station against a very stout Texas A&M defense and an offense that should improve if they can get some quarterback consistency there as well. They then get South Carolina. This is a tough game to pick. It's tough for me because last year, Florida lost the Gamecocks 40-17 on the road. And that was a South Carolina team that had so many questions. Yes, won 7 games last year, but they started 4 different quarterbacks over the course of the year. Their defense had some questions up and down. Their offense was one of the worst in the country, yet they still won 40-17. Now South Carolina is even better. New quarterback in Spencer Rattler coming in from Oklahoma. The defense is very strong, especially in the secondary. Shane Beamer is doing a phenomenal job in Columbia. And I think last year he showed they're not afraid to play anybody. And I don't think South Carolina is going to be too afraid to come into the swamp and play Florida. They're not going to be afraid at all. I think they're going to come in here and win this game in the swamp. And this might be the game where Florida fans hate me the most, but I genuinely believe that when you look at the team as a whole, I think South Carolina owns the edge here. They've got the consistency at the coaching position, year 2 for Shane Beamer, only year 1 for Billy Napier. Quarterback position could go either way between Anthony Richardson or Spencer Rattler. Defensively, roughly again about even. These two teams are going to be close. This game will be much closer than 40-17, but right now I like the Gamecocks just a little bit more. I just don't think, despite all the changes, there's a 23-point swing from last year to this year for Florida. South Carolina beat the Gators 3 straight losses, so now they're 5-5. But luckily for Florida, their next game is at Vanderbilt, a team they beat 42-0 last year. That will give them bowl eligibility. They'll cruise past the Commodores. And they go on the road to Florida State, a team they beat 24-21 last year. That win sent the Gators bowling instead of the Seminoles. That game was a rivalry game. Winner goes bowling, loser stays home. Florida got that win and lost to UCF. While this game I do expect to be much tougher than it was last year. Again, only 24-21. The road, and now it's in Tallahassee. Florida State's improving. I do believe that Anthony Richardson exploits this Florida State defense, a Florida State defense that just isn't quite there yet. I also believe that Florida's back seven will do enough to shut down Jordan Travis, who's taking major leaps forward, but can he carry this Florida State offense in the season finale? I just don't think he will be able to. So a new era for the Seminoles and the Gators. Should see some classic matchups between Mike Norvell and Billy Napier, but in the first duel between the two, Billy Napier and the Gators are going to get the win, and that's going to give Florida a 7-5 record in 2022. Again, you could argue that they win a game that we project them to lose. They beat South Carolina. They beat Utah, whoever you want to say. I just don't think this team can exceed 8 wins. We have them at 7-5. I don't see more than 8-4. But regardless, guys, a winning record is what Billy Napier needs in year one. And I can guarantee you he's going to get that. The Gators will finish the year with a winning record, will lay a solid foundation in Gainesville, and can hit the ground running in a big way in 2023. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Make sure you go take a look at those and sign up for those today. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.